Hey everyone. I wrote out this big parody of the Star Trek opening, and now I don't want to read it because we're recording and I'm embarrassed. But this
Read
is.
the script.
Okay. Alright. Alright,
Gun to his
NBC.
head. You guys can't see it. I'm going to shoot him if he doesn't read it.
Join Pikachu Ash in the game. The Mandalorian is great in the new series, and let's check out what's new in the world of pop culture with your hosts John, Tim, and Quentin, and a podcast we call Rewind
and Reload.
Cyberspace. The final frontier. These are the voyages of the podcast Rewind and Reload. Its continuing mission to explore strange new topics, seek out new jokes and new bits, to boldly go where no podcasters have gone before. Except for all the ones that came before us. Those people don't count.
I've put the gun down.
Thank God. That's us. We are Rewind and Reload, and we talk about pop culture.
I really thought you were going to cry a little there.
I thought about forcing it, but then I decided not to.
It kind of sounded like when you started that you were going to try to kind of cry a little, and I was getting impressed.
I can usually force myself to, so I could, but I didn't want to go that far for the joke.
You gotta take it all the way.
Full
okay,
send, buddy.
Next time I will. I'm your host this week, Tim, and these are my lovely co-hosts, John and Quentin.
Yo.
How was your week, boys? Weeks, I guess. We do these bi-weekly.
I just played a lot of fucking Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh no,
Yu-Gi-Oh.
It's almost like I was there for most of it.
I got vaccinated.
I'm
like
getting
fully.
it Thursday.
Ooh.
Hell yeah.
When did you get? Did you get yours? Like,
mine was like last Monday.
oh, okay.
So it was really
bad
weird
was
though. I felt like I got more sick the first night than I did the second day.
Oh,
Which
okay.
that's not what I was expecting. But no, it was really weird though, because I got a bruise on the opposite arm, like pretty much in like the same area that I got, like that you would get the shot in. But like, so I got the shot on my left arm, and then I got the bruise on my right arm. And I was like, yo, dude, the nanobots got confused.
I was really tired the night that I got my second shot, but the day after I was totally fine.
See, I'm worried about. I got really tired my first one, but I also went at like 9 a.m., which is, if you know me, I do not wake up that early. So I could have very well just been tired from that.
Yeah, dude. See, my first shot, I had to open at work that day, so I got to work at 6, and then I had my shot at like 9, and then I had to go back to work and like work out the rest of my shift after getting my shot. So I think that's why I got more sick the first time.
That could be. No, my first one, I went and got my shot. Went to Bob Evans for breakfast and then came home.
Oh,
And I had a cup of coffee at breakfast, but that didn't seem to matter.
I don't know. After my second one, I think I slept for like close to 14 hours. Like I came home, did some yard work, and then just passed out.
I can never sleep that long, even if I try. Like I'll hit like the 10-hour mark maybe, and then my body's just like, I'll just start getting like weird nightmares and shit. I swear to God.
I just get really antsy usually. Like if I go past usually like 7 hours, my brain just starts like, you should get up. You should get up.
Yeah, yeah. Mine does that too, but I'll keep trying to fall asleep. So it'll be like, hey, here's some weird shit that your subconscious wants you to see, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair.
What about you, John? We didn't talk about your week, I guess.
Not a whole lot. Been busy with work and my EMR course. Get home really late, so I've just been like, I watched Invincible Finished that.
Oh.
Yeah, I watched like an episode a night for like a week. It's only like 8 episodes, so it's pretty quick. Quick watch.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was a good show. Highly recommend. That's about it.
Oh yeah. I also want to recommend. Me and Hannah went on just like a ridiculous anime binge lately. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like Kakaguru. I don't know how to do the end.
Kakegurui.
UI. Yeah, so I don't know how you
Yeah.
pronounce the end of it. It's like Kakagurui. I don't know. But it's like gambling high school. It's really good. And then I feel like the ending kind of sucked, but like
I haven't watched
pretty
the ending
top
of
tier
season- I haven't
show.
watched all of season 2 yet. I probably should.
It has a very anticlimactic ending.
I feel like most animes do though.
No.
I don't know. Most of the ones I watch do.
We just started Gurren Lagann, and that definitely does not have a disappointing ending.
That's
I don't
okay.
want to talk about that right now. I'll actually cry.
I'm very excited to continue watching it.
Maybe we'll recover it after your rewatch, because I originally planned to cover it like a couple weeks ago. A couple of my turns ago, and I was like, hey, do you guys just want to do Star Wars instead? Or no, I did a band of some kind, didn't I? did Daft Punk.
Yeah,
Breakup.
you did Daft Punk right after they
yeah,
broke
yeah.
up. It was like the night after I
Yeah.
think we did it.
I mean, it all worked out perfect because now I'm watching it again, so we can just boom.
How many episodes is it?
24.
Yeah, it's not super long. It's
Or I can
just
send you the
long
movies,
enough.
but we have to figure out a way to do it because there might have them on USB, and Discord does not let me share files that big.
Google Drive.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
I might try to watch
enough,
it. Then.
I guess I
Bada
could do that.
boom.
If
There's it's either we could do you could watch the series, you could watch the 2 movies, which are kind of like condensed
Watch the
versions
series.
of the.
Watch the series.
I would say watch the series.
Well,
And then watch the like last half of the second movie because it's cool as shit.
next week
Yeah.
my week should get normal again because my last class is Thursday night, and then after that it'll go back to normal, and I can start doing normal things again. So,
Gotcha.
it sucked. Monday and Thursday I'm in class I have to leave the house by 5:00, and I don't get home until 10.
Hey, tell me about it.
Well, I know. I'm just saying. I'm not used to it
So
anymore,
we both
man.
graduated college relatively recently. We leave home at 8 a.m. and don't get home till 10.
Yeah, dude. I mean, at least I don't have to leave my home for class. And now I do. That's besides the point, though.
Yeah.
Let's get this ball rolling.
There's not a lot of pop culture news. I'm just gonna say one thing really quick before John talks about the stuff he has written down. I saw the trailer for the new Edgar Wright movie today. Looks pretty good. It's like a weird horror like movie.
Okay, I was about to ask who is it. I don't know.
Oh, he
That
directed the Shaun of the Dead and those movies and the Scott Pilgrim movie.
Oh, okay. You gotta remember,
Baby
Tim, I'm like
Driver.
a fucking like neophyte. When it
Yeah, I'm
comes
a
to, like,
like,
film.
and I'm a cinephile, so I have
So,
sex
yeah.
with movies.
the reels and stuff. Yeah. Cool.
Stick
What's like what's the
stick
most
2 sponges in the
valuable-
middle of the
In the middle of what?
What's the most valuable
film
film
reel?
reel you've done this to?
I was gonna.
an original pressing of Citizen Kane.
Ooh, that's a good one. What about Jaws?
That's scary, dude.
Tried
I don't
the
want to put my dick in
Jaws
that.
one yet? I'm saying, dude, I don't know. That would be my go-to.
But yeah, it's like this weird like alternate reality horror movie with like Anya Taylor-Joy, and I don't know the other girl, but Anya Taylor-Joy is like great in everything she's in. So she's like the girl from The Witch and Queen's Gambit, and some other stuff.
She's that
Gotcha.
bug-eyed chick. She's a great actress.
No, she's a really
But-
great actor. Yeah.
Oh my god, them eyeballs.
She's very, yeah.
It's just 90% eyeballs.
But I think John has some stuff.
Yeah, just I don't know, stuff that I saw that was big on my feed the last couple weeks. The Eternals teaser trailer's out. If you want to see a ripped ass Kumail Nanjiani, I can usually say his fucking name, and it's just because we're recording that I cannot do it.
Kamal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Watch,
so
I'll flub like some fucking American's name this episode too, so it'll be fine.
he's
I mean, I think Kumail isn't it? He's I want to say Pakistani, but I don't know if that's right.
yeah, I think so. But he's in it. I mean, he's stupid ripped. Like he's got to be.
Yeah,
he's
I've
sipping
seen
on that
like,
tea, man. I don't know.
That tummy
His
tea,
fucking
that shit
jaw
that just
is
literally gives you
ripped.
diarrhea.
Yeah.
You guys remember that?
How do you get a ripped jaw? Like, have you seen before and after?
For
His
Kumail,
jawline is like twice
Jaws
as
are
big,
size.
dude.
you don't remember? You don't know those
What
commercials
is he-
of Jaws are size?
You get that
There's
little
no
spring
way
thing that
they
goes in
work
your
that
mouth, and
well.
you make a.
Dude, there's no way that
I
they
wish
can
people
work
could
that well.
see Tim right
That's
now.
such a visual bit, and I don't understand why I did it. I was putting 2 fingers in my mouth and stretching them like that. Like, I don't know how to explain the infomercial product. It's
No.
it's just a little thing on a spring that you put in your cheeks, and you make make it oval, and then extend your lips out.
But have you ever seen it? It's like a little necklace, and it's like a little rubber ball that you put in your mouth, and you just like bite down. You're like, ah.
John, that's a ball gag.
No, it's pretty much a ball
John,
gag.
that's
It's literally that.
not what you think it is.
N-
It's not a workout tool. I mean, I guess.
And
kind
they're
of.
marketing it.
I need to move my microphone back. I just peeked the shit out of it.
I'm not saying that it's not a ball gag. They're just marketing it as
It's
a
it's
jaw
got the
thing.
consistency of a stress ball, but it's just a ball gag.
100%. Oh, and then Shang-Chi, that's out. 10 Rings movie. I feel like there's not a lot of publicity on that movie right now.
I was
Because
gonna say I don't know what that is.
it's another Marvel movie, but it right now it's currently banned in China because it's like Asian whitewashed. They're claiming because it's a bunch of American Chinese people instead of actual like authentic Asian people.
I figured
it's
it was
dumb.
'cause
I don't know.
There was a depiction of, or just a picture of Pooh Bear in the movie somewhere.
Yeah, that's it. Army of the Dead is
or any reference to the Tiananmen Square.
Army of the Dead is out by our boy Zack Schneider, who we just love on this podcast. He can't say enough good things.
Did you see if there's a joke in that movie about the Snyder Cut?
No, he wanted them both to be released on the same day, though, and I don't know why he would do that to himself.
Apparently, there's like a bank vault scene in this movie. I think this movie's about like a bank vault heist, like during the at the start of a zombie apocalypse. I think that's what this is about.
I haven't watched it yet. I just know it's out,
But,
and I forgot about it.
What's the point of robbing a bank at the beginning of a zombie apocalypse? Like, you are literally grabbing the one thing that's going to be useless.
That's the thing, right? Is that people will still think it will be useful for some reason. There's like a huge thing about this in like survivor communities.
Oh my goodness.
But there's like a bank vault in the background. You can see the film reels for the Snyder Cut. Also, apparently, there's like a lady in that movie who's basically a co-star next to Dave Bautista. And he never saw her in person because she did everything like they post-affected her into the movie, basically.
Is that the one that people were saying like
that
what
like
happened to her at the end of the movie? Like the movie just completely forgot about
Oh.
her.
Maybe I just saw
I-
the headline on Reddit. So
I saw that there was like a woman in the movie that they went to go save a helicopter crash, and then the rest of the movie they just forgot about the character. Like it was
that
just
could
over.
very well
It
be that
happens.
character.
But
then.
no, so I looked up the film synopsis. It's like one line.
Oh, good.
After a zombie outbreak in Las Vegas, a group of mercenaries take the ultimate gamble by venturing into the quarantine zone for the greatest heist ever. So I don't know if like maybe the rest of the world isn't completely like
Who
destroyed.
knows?
I don't
Maybe I'll
know,
have to
dude.
watch this movie and update you next episode.
Yeah, I heard it's okay. I heard that like it's a
Oh, so it's your average Zack Snyder film review. It's fine.
yeah, pretty much just like the Schneider cut of Justice League. Or I honestly the only movie that I really liked that he did was Man of Steel. Other than that, it was everything else was okay.
I have a weird soft spot for Watchmen.
Okay,
But that's because
yeah.
that movie does some things right, but does a lot wrong as well.
That one I will consider better.
But the
than
things
most.
it does right, yeah, I would too. I'd say it's above average as far as he's concerned. Like the things it does right really well. But the things that it does wrong hurt just as bad.
Yeah, I agree. Like I don't know. There was weird scenes in that movie that were just like this isn't.
Like the
isn't
casting in that
needed.
movie is top notch. But
Yes, costume design too, great.
pretty sure the song that plays during the credits is a My Chemical Romance song.
It is. I'm almost like
I think it's a My
98%.
Chemical Romance cover of a Bob Dylan song, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Which was strange, to say the least. So was the sex scene where Hallelujah plays.
I was thinking about that one.
Excuse me?
Because isn't that
So there's a sex scene, there's a sex scene between Night Owl and Silk Spectre 2. And when that happens, Hallelujah's playing over it.
Okay.
Isn't that his
okay.
daughter's like favorite song too? And he played
Not
it.
anymore.
Yeah, but he played it
Well,
during.
this was made before her.
Yeah, no, I know.
Her suicide. Yeah.
Yeah,
obviously.
but then they played it in the Justice League trailer
Yeah, trailer.
for her.
Wait, what?
What?
Do you not know this
Is his
story?
daughter?
Okay, so Hallelujah.
I was making
Yeah.
a joke that she didn't like the song anymore because of that scene.
Oh no, Hallelujah!
No.
His daughter, that was her favorite song, and so he couldn't finish the original cut of the Justice League because she committed suicide. Correct.
Yes.
And
I
so when they did his
recount my
cut,
joke.
Huh?
Take it back. Take my joke back.
yeah. So when they did the Zack Snyder
am
cut, he put that
sorry.
in the trailer as like a
I
thing for
made
her.
I made a kind of the same joke when cause I was making so much shit about that movie or that trailer and how stupid that, because it's still a strange choice, but like when you have the backstory, it's like, oh okay, that's kind of sweet, and like it's a kind of a sweet tribute. But then like I found that out after I was talking so much shit, and I was like, oh no.
I think you talked shit on here.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then the
probably.
next one we talked about it again. You're like, oh yeah, sorry about that. Back to the thing that it was a My Chemical Romance cover of a Bob Dylan song in a Zack Schneider movie, and I don't know why that is the trifecta of evil, but it is.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Gerard was like a big Bob Dylan fan.
Oh, I wouldn't be either, honestly. Cause today's Gerard Way is just like a chubby dad who is writing comic books.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's the Bob Dylan.
a lot of people like it
That's
as
the Bob
target
Dylan
demo.
demographic. Oh, his comics are really good. The show that on Netflix based off of them is really good, I think.
I haven't watched that yet.
There's something else that he was involved in that got made a show, I think, and I don't remember what it was. I don't know. You guys have anything else before we hit an ad, or
the Loki trailer's out, like the full last one, and that's about it.
Oh, the Thirst Trap show.
Hell yeah.
That's all the
that'll be out here in the next couple weeks, so we can get Tom Hiddleston all up in my groin.
The 2012 Tom Hiddleston Tumblr stands.
Don't talk about me like that.
Who had their first like. Never mind. I don't know if I can make that joke safely. I was gonna say had their first sexual arousal when Loki told everyone to get on their knees.
That was back when
That
people
is very
still
on
used
brand for
Tumblr.
People do. It's strange to me. But like I said, unless you guys have anything else, we should probably hit an ad, then get into it.
Hell yeah.
All right. Okay, and we're back at it again at the Star Trek, or the Starship Enterprise, the Star Trek Enterprise. That's the bad show. But yeah, no, this week I'm going to talk about, I feel like it's going to be a little bit more me-centric because I put this on explicitly to juxtapose my Star Wars episode, so I'm going to talk a little bit about how much my tastes have changed.
Nah, dude, I'm an expert on Star Trek. Everything I know is from The Simpsons and Futurama.
Mine's Family Guy.
Futurama's not a bad reference. That episode's pretty accurate.
Yeah, that one too.
1 second.
Well, Quentin dies. Me and Tim are just gonna keep on rolling. He just walked away.
He's okay.
He just walked away. He's dead.
I think he needs a drink of water, so we're just gonna keep.
That's a COVID.
I'm gonna cover the second.
He's got a COVID reaction. Oh no!
I don't know what just happened. I just started coughing.
Is that a Rolling Rock? Oh, that's Fresca.
Fresca. What do you think I am? Some kind of degenerate?
I don't know why I thought that was a Rolling Rock. I don't know. I don't know why I thought that.
I only drink grapefruit citrus sparkling soda.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't think I've ever had a Fresca.
Ugh. Grapefruit on top of sparkling soda? No.
It's really good.
I hate it.
It's like Squirt, but better. All right, back to Star Trek. I'm not dying anymore.
I know that's a drink, but I didn't really know what to talk about. And then last week, John was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna cover kind of like an overview of the series for Mortal Kombat." So I was like, "Yeah, that's what I'll do for Star Trek." Originally, I was like, do I want to do a deep dive into each individual series and make a huge episode out of them? Maybe one day, not today. I'm just going to talk about some major content and then talk about the cultural impact the show has had, because I think those are pretty important things. But first, I'd be remiss if I didn't start the discussion off by talking about the creator of it all, Gene Roddenberry.
Good old Gene.
What?
Good old Gene.
Good old Gene. Good old Gene was born in 1921 and grew up in Los Angeles, where his father was a police officer. He grew up as a fan of pulp magazines and stories such as John Carter of Mars and Tarzan, which are very clear influences on Star Trek sometimes.
I want to point out that John Carter, the movie, my dad loves that movie.
Isn't that movie universally hated?
Yes. But every time it has ever been on TV, he has watched it. He'll jump right in the middle of it and just watch the rest of it. It's so weird.
With Goodfellas, where he can just pick it up at any point and watch it. But
I thought it was okay. It was better than
I haven't seen
what
it,
people.
for being honest.
It was better than what people thought, but not good enough to watch every time it comes on.
Fair enough. Roddenberry majored in police science at Los Angeles City College, where he met his first wife, Eileen Anita Rexote. I hope Rexote. Let's just go Rexote. And became interested in aeronautical engineering, which again, totally fits. He joined the USAAC during World War II and flew B-17 bombers out of Oahu, and was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross and the Air Medal for his service during the war. Something that I didn't write down, but that was on the Wikipedia page, I remember. He actually got in a crash over an island near Australia, and then the military was like, "Hey, we're just actually gonna have you fly transport throughout the US." And so he was just basically in the US for the rest of the war after that. And then he went on to fly for a few years for Pan American World Airways. He also had a crash during this, but everyone was okay. He even dragged people out of the wreckage.
Hero.
My man did not have a good track record.
He was not a good
No,
pilot.
he wasn't the best pilot.
He was not a good pilot, but he was a goddamn hero.
He was a hero for that.
He was also the cause of the problem.
Sometimes you got to be a hero of your own problem.
He retired after the flying for Pan Am for a few years. He retired and decided to pursue his dreams of writing for the new medium of television. He worked for the LAPD as he was in like the newspaper unit, I think. So like their public relations group. And he advised on a few police. Yeah, no, that's correct. Quentin gave the thumbs down. Especially for the LAPD. He advised for a few police shows and then like quit that too to like become like a full-time writer and start writing Star Trek.
Thumbs up.
As early as 1964, Roddenberry had drafted a proposal for the show that would become Star Trek, and publicly he marketed the show as a Western in outer space because Westerns were extremely popular at the time, and he figured, hey, I'll just piggyback off of this and get my show made. But it's kind of accurate for some of the episodes where it's kind of just like an exploration of people who are different, which in Westerns is kind of problematic, but in space it's fine. Kind of. Because they're really aliens in space and not other human beings. But in private, Roddenberry told his friends that he was modeling the show on Jonathan Swift's Gulliver's Travels and intended each episode to act on two levels, as a suspenseful adventure story and as morality tale, which is like 100% Star Trek. Is like, oh, on one layer you have this is something went wrong, we have to fix this, or there's a problem, we have to fix this. And then there's like
you learn a lesson.
Moral to it all. Yeah. Star Trek as a whole mainly follows the adventures of humans and other aliens who serve in Starfleet, a humanitarian peacekeeping armada for the United Federations of Planets. The various protagonists of the series have altruistic values, but must find ways to apply their ideals in difficult situations. Mostly due to Starfleet's Prime Directive, which is, to paraphrase, because I don't have the huge quote in front of me that I'm sure exists. You can't interfere with developing worlds in any way that might alter the course of their evolution. So you can't just go to a planet that has primitive tribe people and be like, hey, here's spaceflight.
Fire.
And I only make the primitive in here space flights because that's literally the opening of one of the Star Trek movies, the remakes. Oh. And then there's a scene where they're scratching the Enterprise in the dirt and worshiping it as a god and ancient aliens and shit like that.
So basically what you're telling me is King of the Hill stayed more true to its roots than Star Trek.
No, because literally every captain of every series breaks the Prime Directive when it's needed, because there are times when hey, it's fucked up to just let these people die. Okay. So they'll interfere in that way.
It's like a morality over duty kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's the big moral thing there is hey, I have these values, but my duty tells me not to, but I'm not going to let an entire planet full of people die, so fuck duty. Many of the conflicts faced by these characters are allegories for real cultural realities, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And the original series addressed a lot of issues of the 60s, while others tackled issues of their own time. Specifically, there's an episode of The Next Generation that's literally just about drug abuse. The implication of oh, we made this thing that's highly addictive and we're giving it to these people to keep them down.
Oh, dude, the USS Enterprise introduces crack to the impoverished communities.
Well, they find these two, there's a planet and there's its moon, And the people living on the moon are these, like, bougie-ass people who don't want to do anything, so they give this highly addictive substance to the people on the planet, and they're like, oh, this makes us feel good. And then they're just like, okay, now give us resources from the planet so we don't have to do anything. And we'll keep giving you this thing that makes you feel good. And to the point where, like, it's forgotten altogether that it's a drug, and because it's been going on for so long, that they're like, oh, we need a cure for our plague. And their plague is just withdrawal.
Oh my god. Wow. I didn't know, like, Star Trek went that deep. I thought it was just like...
Oh yeah, there's
there's a few pretty dark episodes.
There's some pretty, like, big things that they tackle when it's not just, like, goofy space stuff. To name a few things, the franchise has depicted issues such as personal loyalty, authoritarianism, imperialism, class warfare, racism, human rights, sexism, feminism, and the role of technology. So yeah, it's covered a few things.
Sexism, I don't know. Maybe later, but...
Well, the original series, no.
Maybe later.
I think there was, like, definitely some, like, empowerment for, like, for ladies in the original series, which I'll talk about again in, like, a few bullet points. But
there's also a lot of
mini skirts
and a lot of sexual
and
misconduct, like rapey.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff in that, and it's very clear. It's like, oh well, yeah, it's not okay. But, like, it was also the 60s.
Everything on TV was like that.
Everything on TV. Everyone, like, it would have been even more outrageous for it to not have been that way, almost. But, like, no, the mini skirts and stuff were definitely, like, Roddenberry just being, like, a horn dog, I think. No. In the future, these will be their uniforms. Believe me, ladies.
Your coochie's just gonna get cold.
It won't happen because the seats will be warmed by space.
Yeah, it all makes sense.
Roddenberry,
up, I guess.
You just don't understand the future math. Roddenberry stated that by creating a new world with new rules, he could make to quote, by creating a new world with new rules, I could make statements about sex, religion, Vietnam, politics, intercontinental missiles. Indeed, we did make them on Star Trek. We were sending messages, and fortunately, they all got by the network. If you talk to people on if you talked about purple people on a far-off planet, the television network, never really caught on. They were really more concerned about cleavage. They actually would send a sensor down to set to measure a woman's cleavage to make sure too much of her breast wasn't showing. So, yeah, I mean, they were equally concerned and not concerned with things they put on TV, I guess.
They were concerned, but just not smart, I guess. I don't know. Like,
I think that pretty much sums up, like,
it's like we want some cleavage and mini skirts, but not too much, and not too many.
And you can't talk about how Vietnam's a bad thing.
Can't talk about them goddamn nommers.
But if you talk about it allegorically, it's okay.
Yeah, it's perfectly
but
fine.
If you talk about the purple people in space,
I feel like it should be fine either way. But at the time, yeah.
Oh, it should be. But
now
it's also NBC. It's being aired on NBC.
Yeah.
So
now I feel like a lot more.
They have to worry about the general audience and who's going to get offended, and that's.
I definitely feel like when you watch things that are coming out now, the allegories. I mean, there's definitely allegories still there for a lot of things, but they're a lot more. They can be a lot more on the nose now than they could back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was like
making weird noises.
Yeah, no, I agree. Through Star Trek, Roddenberry sought to show a progressive political agenda, reflecting that of the counterculture of the youth movement of the time, and he wanted to show how humanity might one day progress past violence, like the Vulcans, a race with a violent past who learn to control their emotions and overcome violence. I'm about was holding back a burp that entire sentence. He gave the show anti-war messaging and depicted the United Federations of Planets as an ideal, optimistic version of the United Nations and what it could become. His efforts were opposed by the network, again, over concerns of marketability, and they opposed Roddenberry's insistence on making the crew of the Enterprise racially diverse. So, there's actually a interesting quote I remember seeing from like a video of a panel from George R.R. Martin, the author of the A Song of Ice and Fire series. People know it as Game of Thrones. Basically
Don't
said
give
that
people
Roddenberry
that.
was a huge inspiration.
Don't give people a hint.
What?
Don't give people the hint for it. We
don't
gotta
give people-
have people with true fans on here.
Oh, we gotta have the intellectuals.
Yeah.
Do we want the true Game
Oh.
of Thrones fans?
I mean, I'm one of them, so no. Because the people, like, the book fans of A Song of Ice and Fire are like, I swear to God, they'll take a sentence and they'll be like, alright, this means this. 100% I know it to be fact. And it's like, no, dude, you're overanalyzing literally everything. And it's kind of George's fault because he leaves a lot of things vague on purpose, but maybe I'll talk about that some other time too.
Quentin, did you get a new tattoo?
No, I've had this forever.
Okay.
Tim noticed it for the first time the other day as
Okay.
well.
Sorry. Tim, go ahead.
No. It's just funny to me because, like he said, I said the same thing.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, there's a quote from George R.R. Martin about Roddenberry and how he was like one of the more progressive TV writers of the time. He basically said that Roddenberry was a huge inspiration for him to make like racially and otherwisely diverse casts. The bridge crew of the Enterprise was like massively diverse for its time. There was an Asian helmsman, an African American woman as communications officer, a Scotsman as chief engineer, and maybe most people don't realize this, but like I feel like one of the most controversial is like Spock, the first officer, who was a mixed race person. He was half human, half Vulcan in like show canon, which like is almost in this time period worse than any of those other things.
Yes.
So
During the time that this show
to
came
a lot
out,
of
yes.
to a lot of people's views, I won't say like, oh, it was by society, but like a lot of people saw this as like it would have been.
I think it was
almost worse if it was like
I think it was like a
mixed race human
borderline
person.
society thing at the time that it was
Yeah, no,
like
you're right. You're
bad, but I don't know. Just do who you want.
But yeah, just through all this, it's not hard to see how Roddenberry was trying to make like a statement that in the future none of like race, gender, and all that shouldn't matter as much as it did in like the 60s when the show was being written.
Yeah, you just bone and don't bone whoever you want.
Exactly.
It's easy. It's that easy.
Yeah, dude. But the 60s, it wasn't. Star Trek didn't have its same-sex kiss until Deep Space Nine in the 90s. So, that tells you anything.
Yeah. Didn't Star Trek though have the first interracial kiss on television?
I'm going to talk about that.
Okay.
Oh, wait, you know what? We'll just talk about that later. I have a little bit down here in cultural impact. We'll wait.
Okay.
I have a little bit in cultural impact because it was like a huge thing at the time. I have like over the years, Star Trek has garnered 13 films, 5 broadcast television series, 3 streaming series, 3 animated series, and 2 theme park attractions. There have also been a huge number of comics, video games, board games, novels, and fan projects. Like, I was going to list the exact numbers, but if you just look up the Wikipedia page for Star Trek video games, it's too much to even count. I didn't want to fucking take the time. There's like over 50 probably.
None of them being good.
Very few of them being good, yeah. That's probably correct. As I've kind of alluded to, Star Trek as a franchise, has been like hugely influential in culture throughout the world and even like parts of our solar system. Quentin mentioned a few of them. They've been referenced endlessly by pop culture, like The Simpsons and Futurama. So, to the point where Futurama has an entire like episode about Star Trek and the Star Trek fandom.
Yeah. It's a pretty good
Isn't
one.
it a couple episodes?
There's
a couple different episodes like
Yeah.
with Star Trek, but like the one Tim's referencing in particular is like the alien who like collects all the Star Trek shit, and then he collects like all of the heads.
Yeah, but
and...
doesn't that start in one episode and end in the next? Isn't it a 2-part one?
Actually,
because
yeah, that might be a 2-part.
Because everyone like,
oh, might be. I don't remember.
Because it was. I think the first episode's like when Fry realizes that like Spock doesn't like to be. Like he wants to be with his friends and stuff, and then they like go fly off or whatever. Like learns the story, and then the next episode's with the cloud alien guy.
I think you're
That
right.
could be.
Yeah,
That could be. Which I think is maybe a Star Trek reference too, because I'm pretty sure there's a cloud alien in like one of either the original series or the Next Generation. I watched almost all of the Next Generation and curated episodes of the original series because some of it's just 1950s camp sci-fi, and I don't want to watch an hour-long episode of that.
not a true fan, dude.
One day I'll watch all of it.
Can't even talk
and
about
then-
this. Not true fan.
Can't even talk about it, dude. All right, you haven't watched literally thousands of hours of content. Not a true fan.
Yeah.
All right, gatekeep me, you fucking 1970s dweebs.
I will.
Okay, good to know. It's actually had like a huge impact on space exploration, which is kind of, I guess, makes sense because the show is all about exploration and exploring strange new worlds. NASA's first orbiter shuttle was named the Space Shuttle Enterprise, named after the USS Enterprise of Star Trek fame. A number of cast members throughout the years have narrated documentaries about the franchise's content and space exploration as a whole. This includes the documentary I saw in 2014 at the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum, narrated by Whoopi Goldberg. Which I didn't rate. I was questioning it then. I was like, why is Whoopi Goldberg narrating this?
I don't.
And then
remember
like,
that.
Oh, makes
I think you guys were
sense.
doing something else, and I went and did went to watch this documentary in the planetarium because I was
okay.
bored.
Oh, maybe that was when me and everybody like wandered off, and then we found our one friend at the flight simulator, just like, whoa, just amazed
Yeah, I think
by
it was because I came back and you guys were like telling me about it. Yeah.
Oh, is this when you guys went on your senior trip?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't go on that.
And the only museum that was open that day was the Air and Space Museum, so we spent like 4 hours in there.
because there was 1 centimeter of snow on the ground in Washington, D.C. So the whole city shut down.
Yup.
The fuck, East Coast.
As Midwesterners, I feel like we're just like anything that's not a foot of snow, we're like, yeah, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
NASA also named like a number of asteroids after people or elements connected to the franchise, such as 2309 Mr. Spock, 4659 Roddenberry, 7307 Takai, 9777 Enterprise, and maybe my favorite of them, the 155142 Tanagra, which is like a very specific episode reference to the Next Generation. So basically, Captain Picard gets stranded on this planet with another alien captain who can only speak in metaphor question. He references like stories. So like we would say like the example on the thing is like Gilgamesh and whoever in Babylon. And like through that you extrapolate the whole story of Gilgamesh and like the moral meaning behind it. But
So it'd be like, hey, how you doing, bud? And be like, have you ever heard of Sisyphus?
yes.
Have you ever
That's
heard
how
of
I'm doing it.
Oedipus?
It would be like, yeah, it would be like
Oh.
Oedipus and the Needles in Greece. But no, yeah. Then the captain was the famous line is like someone and someone at Tanagra when the walls fell, and you have to extrapolate what that means because that's the suspenseful adventure of this episode, and the moral is to not judge people by how they talk. Basically, kind of. It's also just to work together.
Don't judge them how
Which
they
is every
talk,
episode.
just how they look.
There's some weird looking aliens too, so it's fine. They're cool people. The U.S. effort. The U.S. effort to develop a COVID-19 vaccine was named Operation Warp Speed, and is the brainchild of not Star Trek fan Dr. Peter Marks, leader of the FDA unit which approves vaccines and therapies, which I thought was an interesting little.
Is Stark Trek like Tony Stark?
That's
Trek?
that's when Tony Stark got bored of watching old Star Trek episodes, so he hired people to make new ones.
And then he just built the Starship Enterprise.
Yeah, I feel like he wouldn't if he wasn't, dead.
Oh, don't spoil it.
Don't spoil the 4-year-old movie, please. Literally everyone who would be watching a pop culture podcast and are listening to it knows.
Oh yeah.
So I don't feel bad.
Everyone in the world should know by now.
So yeah, what we were kind of talking about earlier, but I have a big chunk about it here. The show was for a long time cited as having the first scripted interracial kiss on television. It turns out there were actually a few before this, but I think it's worth mentioning because of how much Roddenberry and the actors pushed for this to happen in the episode. So I have to talk about the fact that the kiss actually takes place while the two characters are under hypnosis. So neither in-universe character really consented to it, which is kind of weird to talk about, but when you read quotes about it, it seems like everyone was having fun writing it and acting it, so no one was hurt. William Shatner, who plays Captain Kirk, said in a documentary that his and Nichelle Nichols, the lady who plays Uhura, the African American lady that he kisses in the show, their lips never touched because NBC said they couldn't.
Oh.
So they basically said, you can play chicken, but don't do it. But
I bet
Nichols,
you Shatner, the ultimate Chad, did it.
It turns out that they both kind of I'll talk about it in a second. Nichols, however, insists in her autobiography. I had to pull up this thing in full screen so I can see the comment. Nichols insists in her autobiography that the kiss was 100% real and that they just used camera tricks to obscure the fact that their lips were actually touching. There's a long quote from her autobiography that says, quote, "Knowing that Gene was determined to air the real kiss, Bill shook me and hissed menacingly in his best ham-fisted Kirkian staccato delivery. 'I won't kiss you. I won't kiss you.' It was absolutely awful, and we were hysterical and ecstatic. The director was beside himself and still determined to get the kissless shot. So we did it again, and it seemed to be fine. Cut, print, that's a wrap. The next day they screened the dailies, and although I rarely attended them, I couldn't miss this one. Everyone watched as Kirk and Uhura kissed and kissed and kissed. And I'd like to set the record straight. Although Kirk and Uhura fought it, they did kiss in every single scene. When the non-kissing scene came on, everyone in the room cracked up. The last shot, which looked okay on the set, actually had Bill wildly crossing his eyes. It was so corny and just plain bad, it was unusable. The only alternative was to cut out the scene altogether, but that was impossible to do without ruining the entire episode. Finally, the guys in charge relented. To hell with it, let's go with the kiss. I guess they figured we were going to be canceled in a few months anyway, and so the kiss stayed. So yeah, no, this episode was in the season 3, I want to say, which was the last season of Star Trek, the original series, before it got canceled. So that seems that played a part in that getting through. But
Just fuck it. We're going down with a bang.
NBC kind of was referenced. NBC also ordered 2 takes of this scene to be filmed, one where the pair kissed and one where they didn't. Shatner and Nichols deliberately flubbed the latter takes, though, forcing the network to use the kiss. And I think this is a quote from Nichols again. Quote, "It received a huge response. We received one of the largest batches of fan mail ever, all of it very positive, with many addressed to me from girls wondering what it was like to kiss Captain Kirk, and many to him from guys wondering the same thing about me. However, almost no one found the kiss offensive, except for a single mildly negative letter from one white southerner who wrote, 'I am totally opposed to the mixing of the races. However, anytime the red-blooded American boy like Captain Kirk gets a beautiful dame in his arms that looks like Uhura, he ain't gonna fight it.'" Nichols notes that, quote, "For me, the most memorable episode of our last season was Plato's Stepchildren."
That seems like a backhanded compliment.
Yeah, he's like, hey,
right? He's like, hey, yeah, she's a really hot lady, but
yeah,
I ain't for that.
He's
but
like,
Captain Kirk, he ain't gonna say no.
It's like me.
It's like, okay,
I can't mix them races, but Captain Kirk, man, he's not gonna say no to her.
I feel like that was just like a learned thing that he like picked up and then like never fully understood.
And then
now he's just living vicariously through Captain Kirk.
Something funny happened in his pants during that episode, and then he was like, oh, maybe I do like this.
So yeah, I think it shows a lot that the actors and even like Roddenberry himself went out of their way to like shun studio interference and like have this aired the way it was intended. So yeah, that was the big kiss to do. There's a lot of influence on technology too. It predicted things like voice-activated computers and touchscreen monitors. But Roddenberry also notoriously employed a Rand Corporation physicist and a team at Kellum DeForest Research to fact-check the writers when the show was first starting, so that like what they were writing was like theoretically possible. So he didn't want like some far-flung.
He didn't want to get too far
Wars.
out there.
He didn't want to go Star Wars. And have like holographic bad guys leading.
But there's
armies.
Michael Jackson has
holodeck.
Hologram Tupac.
Tupac and Michael Jackson have both been holograms in Vegas.
Okay, but if you told a 1960s person that holograms were going to be real one day,
didn't they just create a real lightsaber too?
Probably not like a real lightsaber.
Yeah, it's like a retractable rod.
It's like a plasma.
Yeah, it's like a retractable rod that like
has like a plasma reaction going on around it. Yeah,
it's not like an actual like lightsaber, but it like acts.
It's not refracting through a kyber crystal to produce a beam of light solid enough to cut through a man's hand.
Yeah, but it is like a actual retractable blade that can cut through things. Not as efficiently.
Did they get the crystals themselves?
Huh?
Do you guys remember?
Did they?
Oh, sorry. Go on.
Is it Dagobah? Is that where the crystals are? I'm pretty sure it's Dagobah. Did they go to
There's
Dagobah?
There's a crystal on Dagobah. That's where like there's the Force Cave on Dagobah.
Yeah,
There's like a weird ice planet that I don't remember the name of, where like they go to take Padawans to pick their kyber crystals.
I need to go back and replay Knights of the Old Republic now.
Oh, well, the Knights of the Old Republic, I don't know how, but in the like actual canon, there's like a planet where they go to like this big Force crystal cave. It was in I think it was in Clone Wars in the later seasons and was in Fallen Order, which are both like series canon at this point.
Yeah, but we're not talking about Star Wars. We're talking about
Star Trek. So
Trekkies tonight.
There's like obviously like some influence on artificial intelligence to the point that like the American president of the American Association for Artificial Intelligence, when asked what his ultimate goal was in the field, simply responded, "Lieutenant Commander Data." The human, almost basically human android from The Next Generation, played by Brent Spiner. who gets an emotion chip that he never uses because he wants to learn how to use emotions on his own.
Wow.
There's actually a whole episode about, like, what it means to be human involving Data. So that kind of is like the moral, the moral cultural thing we kind of talked about earlier. That back in like 1990, it was 89 or 90, where they were like, but will robots one day be close enough to be human that they are considered human? So, I mean, that was really popular in science fiction then, though, because like things like, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep and I, Robot were written around then too, if not before.
And Terminator.
Yeah, everyone's favorite director. Was it Michael Bay or the other guy?
It was a Michael Bay film, wasn't it?
Was it not the Deep Sea dude?
J.J. Abrams?
No,
No.
the Deep Sea guy, Avatar.
I think you're right. I'm looking it up.
Yeah, okay, you got it. I'll keep talking. The modern cell phone was also influenced by Star Trek: The Original Series. In the original series, there was like a little flip open communicator device that communicated with the Enterprise.
It was James Cameron.
And that's basic. Okay, yeah.
It's all right.
I thought it was James Cameron. No, it's okay. You're good. Which is basically just like that original like Razor flip phone. Was the Star Trek communicator.
Hell yeah.
Uhura also has like this like thing that goes in her ear, which is basically just a Bluetooth, like early Bluetooth headset.
That only truckers use now.
Yes.
Unless you have AirPods.
Fair. I'm pretty sure the engineer who designed the first flip phone straight up said like, yeah, no, I was definitely influenced by the Star Trek communicators. In the late 90s, NASA developed a low-vision headset and named it Geordi, after the character Geordi LaForge, played by LeVar Burton, and his visor in all capitals because it's a huge abbreviation. Maybe the future host of Jeopardy. Maybe. People want him. And his visor, which is all in capitals because it's some huge acronym, that allowed Geordi was born blind, and the visor allowed him to see in like various wavelengths of light. The like interface straight to his brain. So NASA named that after him. Sort of ? Inspired the future virtual reality. The next generation featured the holodeck, which was a fully immersive entertainment suite that could construct entire holographic worlds around the user. Which is like, we're not quite there with VR yet, but
Pretty close.
I guess it's only a matter of time before someone makes just like a huge room with treadmills in it and you can walk around in it.
I just looked up what visor meant, and I'm kind of disappointed in this.
Is it just like vision?
Visual instrument and sight organ replacement.
Welcome to Star Trek, where everything has like really intricate
it's
acronyms,
just
but then
on
it's
the
just like named
nose.
the most mundane shit.
Yeah, it's just like fuck
Yeah.
that. I just love
It's
the.
not like
Go ahead.
No, go on. Okay, it's not like Star Wars where everything's like some planetary name and then like a fucking word that George poured all over the thesaurus and it's like a bunch of
He threw Swiss cheese on a thesaurus and just picked some fucking.
basically.
I was just gonna say, I just remember when I hear LeVar Burton, I always think of the scene from Family Guy when Peter puts on the visor at the Star Trek convention and it's just a bunch of fucking Klansmen. He goes, who would invent these for him? Why would he wear these?
So there's actually like not to ruin the Family Guy bit that I'm sure Seth MacFarlane put a huge effort into, because that's the comedian he is. There's actually like episodes where they show what Geordi sees, and it's literally just like electromagnetic like like outlines of things.
It's kind of like
I think there's like a thing he can do to like switch it, and like he can see like thermal wavelengths too, but I don't I don't remember exactly.
I feel like it's like a mix between what like the Predator sees and Daredevil sees.
Well, it could
It's
be.
kind of, I don't know. That's what I remember it as when I would watch it with my dad. But I also haven't watched it in a long time.
I also kind of now that we're like towards the end of all my research, I just remembered a scene from the Next Generation that always makes me laugh. Um, there's a scene where they're in like the hangar bay, and Worf, who's like a Klingon, who are like these big muscular like warrior people, who are like built for war. They evolved for war, and like just a barrel falls on him, and it's just one of those like plastic barrels that like blue barrels that's clearly empty, and it bounces off of his back, but in the show it like breaks his back to the point where he's like, I have to commit ritual suicide.
Bro, don't be so dramatic.
It bounced off your back, bro.
And like there's just like little things like that in like every Star Trek, like in the early Star Trek stuff, I guess, until they started like doing CG and shit. Where it's like obviously there were things you couldn't do with practical effects, like drop a 50-pound barrel on someone's back, so they just didn't fill it. And it looks goofy as hell because it just like
The physics just
plops
doesn't make
down on
sense.
his back and it bounces off of it. But in canon, he's like, my back is broken. I must die. I cannot fight a warrior's death.
I feel like it's like the old Hulk series whenever he would throw like rocks and building
God.
parts and shit, and it's just like it's so obviously fake, but you can like they couldn't do anything better.
like the costume for the Gorn in the original series.
Yeah.
Where it's just like it's like a fucking reptile like foam suit this guy has on.
Oh man.
But then Kirk makes gunpowder because Kirk's Kirk. Also, there's an episode of the original series where, like, I don't remember what the issue is, but all I remember is the solution is that Kirk is, like, reads these aliens the Declaration of Independence. And they're like, yes, yeah, that is what we need, yeah.
I thought he solved every episode with just sleeping with the aliens. I really should rewatch this.
That's some of them, but he doesn't, like, sleep with all, like, well, he does sleep with, like, good number of women in that show, but it's not like, I don't think that's ever the solution. In fact, I think sometimes that's what get them into the shit.
God damn it, keep your dick in your pants.
Like there's definitely an episode, it's not Kirk in this one, it's Dr. McCoy, who's like he meets this old flame of his, and then it turns out that she's been replaced by this salt vampire who seduces men and sucks the salt out of their bodies.
I am uncomfortable with a salt vampire more than a regular one. Because I'm thinking of just
weird,
like them
right?
sucking
That's like one of
sweat
the-
out of you.
You can just go to the store, get some salt.
That's like that's the first episode of Star Trek too, I think. Well, other than the pilot, which has Captain Pike on it, which is like you can see on Netflix. It's on there, like the original like pilot that got replaced. But I think that Salt Vampires episode is the first episode of the Shatner Star Trek.
Huh.
And then they referenced in like one of the movies, I think they referenced Pike, because I'm pretty sure there's like a captain over when Kirk isn't the captain, like the captain that he's replaces is named Pike, I'm pretty sure, in like the reboot movies. Just a fun little nod and a wink.
Yeah.
It's not as on the nose as original timeline Spock coming into reboot timeline, which happens.
Kind of want to look that up. Because I haven't seen the newest reboot one. I saw the original, but not the...
There's like 3, right?
Is
I
there?
don't. There's Star Trek Into Darkness, and I don't remember if there's a third one. Star Trek Beyond. There's 3. I guess I'd be remiss, even if it's at the very end here, not to mention the most iconic Star Trek film, The Wrath of Khan, where Kirk defeats the enemy because he thinks of space as like 18th century naval ships.
Genius.
So Kirk just comes up from under him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, in the reboot, Captain Pike is like Captain Kirk's like superior.
Yeah.
He's like the first guy. He's supposed to be like the original captain, and then he takes over like halfway.
I think he dies.
I don't know if he dies or if he gets wounded.
Or maybe I'm just thinking of every Gundam on every Gundam series where like there's an original captain and he fucking eats it, and then the new younger captain has to take over.
I don't know.
But anyway, I
really
think that's all. That's all of my research. So.
Yeah, I don't feel like reading all this.
So unless if you guys have anything else, we can talk some more or wrap up if you want. I don't care.
I don't have anything to really add. I think you summed up the series pretty well. I mean, I'm not the biggest Trekkie, but hit everything I would have hit.
Yeah, I didn't really talk about I'll talk about it for like very briefly. I'll make it real quick. Of how like I used to love Star Wars and then I kind of fell out of love with it. And then I found Star Trek and was like, oh, this is like a lot better in some ways. This is what I really wanted out of science fiction. Because like Star Wars, it's just like battles. There's not really like exploration and meeting new people and solving problems. Everything's just like, we're the space police and we have lightsabers. Which is cool.
I kind of never understood why my dad liked it so much. But yeah, as I get older, the more it's kind of like I want to go back and watch it and check it out.
Well, that's how I was as a kid. It was like, I don't think Star Trek's cool. But I was also like so into Star Wars and I knew like the pop culture war of like which one's better. And I was like, I like Star Wars. I can't like Star Trek.
Yeah, you can't like you can only like one. You can't like both.
Which is fucking stupid.
Well, it's just like DC and Marvel.
Yeah, which is stupid. It's the same thing because both have their good moments and have a lot of shit moments between.
If you like just like what you like, man. Everything's kind of shitty and everything's pretty good. There's there's just like you have a like series like comics, TV, movies. You're bound to have some shitty stuff in there. But overall it's pretty good.
I watched recently watched this like hour-long video essay this guy did about how the like I don't remember what run of Batman or who the writer was of the comic just like didn't use any of the interesting like rogues gallery cast. He was just like, let's just use Joker again.
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, it was like so centric on just the Joker that it was like everyone was getting irritated because they're like, he has all these other villains, like use
like they would have like 1 issue stories and that's it. And then, like, even, I think Scarecrow never shows up outside of, like, background shots.
I think Penguin never does. I think that run also doesn't have Poison Ivy in it.
It's just like, this guy just apparently loved the Joker and wanted to use nothing but the Joker. And DC let him.
Yeah. That's what happens, though, when something runs for so long. Someone's so infatuated with a certain part of it that it becomes overall.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like that's like if you would have given 2012 me Batman, I would have been like, haha, okay, let's just write a Joker story.
I'm trying to think of like
entire run.
Probably that, or I would do like Deathstroke a lot.
Yeah, that's fair.
But like I would be very centric on a very minuscule amount of characters.
Yeah. Which is kind of... I mean, there's a couple things with Star Trek that's fallen into, too. So, specifically, like, the Picard show. I don't even want to talk about that. It's so uninteresting to me. Like, the overview I've seen just doesn't look good. It takes everything that people liked about Picard and TNG and just threw that out the window.
That sucks.
He's super old, but he fights now. It's like, no, that's not Captain Picard. He doesn't fight. He doesn't do that.
How this works.
Keep him the same.
It's like what they did to Yoda in the prequels.
Oh God.
We have this cool sage. Now he fights because we can animate him in CG to flip.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. I mean, anyways. Quentin, do you have anything to add? You're pretty quiet.
I have no fucking idea anything about this series, John. Don't ask me.
Well, now you do.
Well, now I do, yeah.
It kind of makes me.
But how am I gonna add?
It does make me kind of want to go on Netflix and watch this. I will say that.
Yeah, I would definitely say like look up there's a site called like letswatchstartrek.com or something that has like a pretty good like watch list put together of like here's episodes you should watch and here's episodes that are kind of pointless, just skip these. And that's kind of what I did for the original series, and I did it for the later seasons of TNG because I watched like every episode for 5 seasons of TNG, even if it was just like in the background and I was doing something else. But then I got to the point where I was like, this is starting to like noticeably people think like the last few seasons are pretty weak of the Next Generation. So I was like, I'm starting to feel fatigue. I just want to watch like the good stuff. So I found a list.
The important ones.
Yeah.
The good.
Yeah, once that fatigue sets in, you either have to take a break or you have to push through and just do the good episodes. Like you can't just sit there and watch the rest of it. Like you're just gonna burn the fuck out and not like it anymore.
I was tempted to do that with Naruto, but I got convinced not to.
I'm almost done with it. I'm finally almost fucking done with it. I'm on episode like 400 something.
Our friend Alex was like, "You bought the game to finish the series story. Just play that." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. I won't watch this 10-year-old animation."
I thought you read it.
I was starting to read it, and then I was like starting to watch it. I was starting to watch it, and then I started to read it. And then Alex was like, no, homie. Just play the game.
See,
manga game.
I just bought a subscription to Anime Lab, and I just watch it on there because they have all the dubbed. And then I can just put it on the background, and even if it's like filler shit, I can go like do the dishes while it's playing and kind of like half pay attention.
Yeah.
See, that's my problem. That was my problem with Shippuden, was like there's so much.
I
don't want to watch all
There's
this.
only that streaming service. All the other ones you have will all cut it off at like episode like 200 or something like that. Like right when Madara and or Toby starts talking to Sasuke, like right after he kills a certain somebody, it like turns straight. It turns all into subbed on every other platform.
Dude, I can't believe Sasuke killed Dumbledore.
Yeah. I feel like I could... It's old enough that everyone should know what happened, but I also feel like because of the pandemic, a lot of people have gotten really into anime and they might not. You know what I mean?
That's the really cool thing about the astronomy tower is when Sasuke Chidori's Dumbledore, it says, "This is all for my ambition."
He says, "You will be my springboard."
And then he awakens his Mangekyo Sharingan because Dumbledore was his only real true friend.
I mean, I think this might be an actual fan fiction.
And then he protects...
Well, it probably is, honestly. Knowing these two fandoms, they probably fucking is. Someone wrote this at some point in 2012.
Then he protects Voldemort with the perfect Susanoo.
And then... I don't want to take this joke any further. I hate it enough.
I feel like I took
it
a little too far, honestly. So...
And then whichever of the Weasley twins loses their ear gives their other ear to their brother as his birthday gift. You know.
Yeah,
like
I know.
Kakashi
And then the other one's not actually dead. Oops.
And then one of them does die. One of the Weasley twins is straight up fucking dead.
Which one?
I don't remember.
That's up to you to figure
They're basically the
out.
same character, they just have 2 different names.
Yeah.
I don't even remember their name. Isn't one of them Fred?
Fred and George.
Fred and Georgie.
Okay. I couldn't remember. I always want to say Fred and Ed.
Fred and Ed. They just as uncreative as good old Joan can be. She really just went off the deep end with that one.
All right. I don't know if there's anything else that we can ramble about.
Nah. We're gonna do plugs. You can find me on Letterboxd, Timmy C. Haven't reviewed a movie in a hot second. Haven't watched a movie in a hot second. Everything else is Hot Pink Waffles. I might start streaming soon. I can't stream Final Fantasy like I wanted to because my CPU needs an upgrade. But you can follow me on Twitch at TJams, TEAJAMZ.
You can find me on Twitter at Gondola Driver and Twitch at Boxwine, but the O is a 0.
Did you have to change your username?
No, I just wanted Boxwine.
Okay. I mean, if it's available, it's better than Boxwine69 or whatever it was.
It was Boxwine 69420.
Oh, it's funny.
Yeah,
I
just noticed.
I know it was like I know the last part was ironic. So.
I just noticed that it's just Boxwine on here now. On Discord.
Yeah, so I figured I'd tone it down a little bit as I've grown up, instead of being an alcoholic sex fiend stoner, I'm just an alcoholic.
I'll never outgrow Boxwine. And I'll never grow out of the other 2 things either, but I'll keep the other 2 on a down low.
The private.
Yeah. You can find me at jmergs on Instagram, Twitch, wherever you want to find me. I'll probably stream tomorrow, hopefully. And yeah, that's about it.
Podcast socials, you can find everything at Rewind Reload. And we'll see you next time.